I'm like, where'd you go? I came in this shit out of nowhere, yeah, I didn't mean to scare you, bro. Used to look around and like, where?
Hey guys, and welcome back to another video of Brown Boys Talk City. And today we have the much awaited Brown Boys react to excellent and sometimes terrible Twitter and Instagram takes. The concept of this video is basically we're going to be going through some of the opinions we've got on Instagram and Twitter and giving our kind of take on whether they're good opinions or more often than not really bad opinions. But all jokes aside, thank you for everyone who sent in these amazing takes. It really means a lot considering we're still a growing channel. And yeah, we'll get right into it. We're going to be discussing 7 to 8 takes. Today we have Karan, Araman, and I discussing the takes since we're probably the 3 smartest and handsomest brown boys. So yeah, the A squad out for the video. And yeah, we'll get right into it. The first take we have is that Manchester United will win the title with a fit Eric Bailly and signing Jadon Sancho. This take was sent in by NBA Ruth23. So thank you very much for the take. KJ, what are your thoughts?
I feel like Sancho would be a massive improvement, but having said that, I can't really see United winning the title next season just because even though United have been playing pretty well since they've been back, they still haven't solved many of the problems, such as the defense, relative to teams like City and Liverpool, and even the depth. Even if they're playing well right now, we've seen time and time again that the players they don't have the best durability, and United's depth isn't that great. So I'd still not put them on the top. And then when it comes to Bailly, while he is a good player, I can't see Bailly making such a big difference that United go from a top 4 caliber team to a championship team, even with Sancho.
Yeah. What's your take on the Araman since you're a big United fan? What do you think about United's chances next year?
I think something you're going to agree on, but let's just rule out the Eric Bailly, rumor of him being a world-class centre-back for United. I mean, okay, I agree he'd be a good rotational centre-back for FA Cup or Carabao games, but making an impact of winning the cup, no, not exactly as I think. And I feel with United's history of getting new players, there takes a certain time of adjustment for every player to adjust in the club. You will not expect Sancho to, like, as soon as he arrives United, he's going to perform the same abilities or the same skills, or preferably maybe scoring the same goals that he did in Dortmund. There's going to be a time of settlement, and while I would appreciate them winning the cup, I don't think they're ready. It would be a good performance if they win.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of things you can kind of unpack in this take. I think almost every Manchester United fan wants Jadon Sancho at the club, but I think, as Araman said, it's unrealistic to kind of expect the same level of output in Manchester, because the fact is he's moving from Germany to the Premier League, which is, as we know, a lot more physical, a lot less attacking. There's a lot less space for wingers to run into. And it's kind of important to remember in Germany, he's playing with one of the best attacking wing-backs in the world, which is Achraf Hakimi. And he's playing really high up the pitch. In our squad, playing with Wan-Bissaka, Pogba, Bruno is obviously going to be helpful, but it's going to take time to adjust. And on the Eric Bailly thing, I mean, he had a good first 6 months when he joined the club. But since then, he's been no better than Chris Smalling or Phil Jones have been for us, not least in terms of his injury record. And I think even before, I kind of disagree with what KJ said before about the defense. If you see the kind of improvement we've had this year from last year, I think in terms of expected goals, we have the best defensive record in the league. And in terms of just goals flat out, we have the second best defense. So there's definitely improvement. And if you see most of our goals, they come from set pieces. That's something you can kind of coach into a team to improve an individual error. So I think defense is not that much of an issue. I think the issue is finding a replacement for Nemanja Matic. Someone who can play deep, who can prevent counterattacks, who's intelligent in progressing the ball up the pitch. I think Fred and McTominay, they've shown this year that they're really good squad players, and in the big games, I probably pick them over Matic. But they're not the best in terms of deep progressions and getting the ball into the final third. And I think addressing that before you look at Eric Bailly is probably more important for United. And that's probably a right winger and a DM solidify United in the top 4. With how good City and Liverpool are, you can't overtake them with just Sancho and some defensive midfielder. You need a lot more squad depth. So I think you give Manchester United 2-3 years. Like you give Klopp at Liverpool 3-4 years to kind of build the squad he wants. I think with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United, give him 3-4 years before you expect a genuine title challenge.
Yeah, what I would say is that, like, I wasn't saying that the defense hasn't improved, because it certainly has. And when I was talking about the defense, it also talks about the defensive end, which also includes the CDM. The second part, that it was more in comparison to the likes of Liverpool or City, who I still think have the advantage in United or defensive personnel. Even if the expected goals suggest that this season United have been better, I'd still take those defenses over United. And yeah, I'd agree that finding a CDM is important. And I also think that if someone can challenge Liverpool next season, I can only see it being City, if they don't get banned by the FFP. Otherwise, I can see Liverpool retaining at least for one more season. Then I can see the likes of United and even Chelsea challenging after another season with their new managers and some of their new players.
Yeah, I think just on that point, I think if you look at the City and Liverpool squads, they're all peak age squads. All the best players in the peak age, except for City, would have very young attackers. You could say in Sterling, Jesus. But other than that, these squads, you do expect them to kind of age out a bit more in 2-3 years. And since they both play high intensity pressing football, they're not going to be able to keep up with that. Whereas if you look at the United squad and the Chelsea squad, they're very young squads, especially in the attacking and defensive areas. Young, early 20s squads. You give them 3-4 years to mature into peak age players. I think then you'll see genuine title challenges. But I think, we've unpacked the stake pretty well. I think Sancho is definitely needed for Manchester United, and Bailly is always a good squad player to have. But I don't think those two signings or those two players make us title challengers. Moving on,
not for next season.
Yeah, at least not next year. And the next take we have is Barca with Antoine Griezmann have become worse this season. And this was sent in by Erod Quarantino on Twitter. So thanks for the take. And Arvind, what do you think about Barca this season with Antoine Griezmann?
So I'll personally be honest, I do not watch Barca games that much. I mostly rely on scorelines. But being really honest, like looking at the stats, comparing them to the past year and this year, it seems more of a part where Griezmann hasn't been utilized properly at Barcelona. And I've also heard their team having management problems a lot, which is why I've seen a lot of Barcelona fans complaining about how they do not have the best manager right now, about how their staff members aren't taking good care of the players or something like that. But in my opinion, we all know how Messi consistently performs every season, and that complements his attack as well. But saying Griezmann after reaching Barcelona, it kind of ruined the squad, is something unmeasurable, something I could say maybe, because it's like getting a world class player to a good squad, expecting good performance from him. Individually, he did well in the beginning of the season, but calling Barcelona worse is, I don't know, something I'm not sure of. How about you?
I think just on that, I think Barcelona have been worse this year, but I wouldn't kind of put that all on Griezmann. He's not come in and made the squad worse, but he's definitely not come in and been a £100 million plus player who's improved the squad. I think it just shows the last few years the kind of terrible transfer decisions that Barcelona have taken. Signing Coutinho to replace Iniesta, signing Griezmann a year after he rejected them. This is not the profile of player that they need to get the most out of Messi in his twilight years. They need players like Ousmane Dembele, runners who Messi can find with his balls, because Messi's not going to be running as much anymore. Griezmann, I think we've seen him and Messi have almost gotten each other's way a lot. They want to both do the same things, drop deep and make plays. What do you think about the suitability of Griezmann to Barcelona squad, TJ?
I think the problem with signing Griezmann, I didn't even like the signing at the time, is that Griezmann's 29 and you have Suarez, who is declining, of course. However, he's still a world-class striker or a near world-class striker. And then you have Messi, who does many of the things that Griezmann does. So when you're signing Griezmann, one, you're making him redundant. Two, you're either reducing Suarez's minutes or you're playing Griezmann out of position. So I did not like the signing at the time, and more or less that's happened. And then what's also not helped is the change of management and how Griezmann's minutes have been reduced significantly lately. So I think overall, while you cannot attribute it directly to Griezmann, like the signing they made and the fact that they're a declining squad in general, who've made some horrible decisions regarding their squad depth and have been carried by Messi and Ter Stegen for the last season or two. It's finally starting to show. And I don't think they were doing particularly well before, but Messi more or less papered over their cracks, and now those cracks are showing more and more.
Yeah, I think less than the signing of Griezmann, it's more about the opportunity cost of where they could have used the money. In a sense,
Yeah.
if you put 120 million into the areas where they really need to strengthen, like probably a replacement for Suarez, a pacey winger who can maybe take some minutes
like
off
if you
Messi.
needed to buy a replacement of Suarez, you should target a player who's maybe cheaper and more importantly, much younger than Griezmann, who's 29.
Exactly. The
by
age
the
profile
time-
just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
It wa-
exactly.
I feel this purchase was more of a short-term goal than a long-term goal, and that's the difference. That it should have been a long-term goal. Spending 120 million on someone
Yeah.
who's 29, who'll be redundant after like 1 or 2 years, doesn't make any sense.
True,
And
exactly.
just
I
want to point
agree.
something out. Ever since Griezmann came to Barcelona, his season with Atletico, he had 15 goals and 9 assists. But in his season with Barcelona, he had 8 goals and 4 assists.
Yeah, so
so
a kind of
somewhat-
market decline in output.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think one final thing on this topic is probably Griezmann's used to playing in a counter-attacking side where he's the main man. They look for him all the time to make stuff happen.
Yeah.
At Barcelona, that's never going to be the case. It's Leo Messi and it's a possession-based system. So that kind of transition's been difficult as well. And on the kind of topic of Barcelona's decline, we have a incredibly hot take, molten take actually, by at Lakers all the way, which says that Barca should sell Messi and use the funds to improve the squad. What can I say about this? Barcelona selling their only world-class player, potentially. Messi and Ter Stegen. I mean,
Messi and
maybe
Ter
Frankie
Stegen.
de Jong, but he's literally carrying the squad.
Even he's
Everyone
not world
knows.
class right now. Yeah.
Yeah, but everyone knows
Right.
he's the best player in the world.
Yeah.
And I
for
think
sure.
selling Messi is premature. But KJ, what do you think about that?
Unfortunately, even though I appreciate Lakers all the way sending the take, I disagree with it because for one, literally you have the best player in the world and you decide to sell him when he's literally carrying your squad. And unlike other sports, it's not like you can tank or something in football. And the funds you'll generate, you probably can't even replace his output. He's literally he's even at this age, he's not even declined, and he's literally leading the league in goals, assists. He's one of the best chance creators in the league. He's literally one of the best players in the world. If not, he is literally the best player in the world, and he's literally carrying the Barca squad by so much. Like literally, he's carried the Barca squad for the last 2 or 3 seasons. So I can't really see the point in selling Messi, considering he's literally the best player, and more importantly, he's so well-rounded and carries the team in so many ways.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't really see it.
kind of to play devil's advocate here. With Messi in the team, Barcelona, what they've been looking to do last few years is capitalize on his the twilight of his career and kind of surround him with peak age players who they think, wrongly so, as we've seen, can help him win another Champions League and dominate the league years that he still has left. All I would say is maybe you get 150 million from him, and then you look and you're trying to retool the entire squad because Barcelona have immense financial difficulties and Messi's on an incredible wage packet. You get 20, 22-year-olds and you look, okay, 3-4 years we'll try and carry it. Because if you look at Real Madrid, they've got an incredibly young squad, a lot of exciting youngsters coming through. Barcelona just don't have that. And I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I know Messi is the best player in the world, and Barcelona will definitely suffer, at least in the short term for now. But eventually, they will have to transition away from Leo Messi. So if they can do it now,
agree
and
they
take the
have
money,
to.
maybe.
I agree they have to, but the point is that do you really trust this the current state of management at Barcelona to a team which is failing to really build a squad around a player who's doing so much? Can you really trust them to rebuild a team successfully without Messi? Because they haven't shown anything which will suggest that they can do that. So even though there is a point to this, and also I'd also say that players like say Griezmann would become more valuable and would contribute more probably if in this hypothetical they sell Messi. But the problem is that end of the day I can't really trust the Barca management right now on the basis of their track record to rebuild after selling Messi, considering they failed to really build with him. So that's
I agree. Arman, a question for you.
Yeah.
Would you take Messi at Manchester United?
No, I would not.
Okay, why is that?
And
Say we got him for a free after his contract expires next year. He's 34, 35 then. Would you take him?
Okay, so hear me out here.
Yeah.
This is a very big discussion I have with players who argue, oh, who's better, Messi or Ronaldo? And I always say this. Since 2004 now, Messi has been playing in La Liga. We all know how dominant he's been in the league for Barcelona. You could literally type the number of teams he's played on one finger, which is FC Barcelona. And here's the thing. Is it necessary for a player, for one of the best players in the world, that if he transitions to another league, he will surely dominate? Or he'll fit into another team's tactics or into another team's, background after spending 16 years in the team? How? That's the only thing I'm curious about. For a player who has been in the same club in 16 years, who has seen it grow, who has seen the change of tactics, or sometimes even made tactics in his own team, or suggested something. Joining a new league, being in a new team after 16 years, would he act as the same role as he does in Barcelona?
I actually think that's an interesting point. I think, though it's undoubtable that Messi's skill set would work in any league, I think with the age he's at and whatever squad he goes to, as we've seen with Argentina, the national team, you have to kind of build the squad around Messi. And that's not a bad thing. With the best players, you have to build the squad. You can't put them into the squad. So if you put Messi in a team, like say Manchester United, it takes away. You have Pogba, Bruno Fernandes. What are they going to do? Their role is obsolete then in the team. But I think any club that wants to maybe take Messi on after his contract ends, because there's been rumors that he wants to leave at the end of next season, which we always see, but just for argument's sake, unless that team has the infrastructure built already to accommodate Leo Messi, I don't think it's a very good idea, because even though he's definitely going to be the best player in the world, wherever he goes, it's going to be difficult to kind of get the team performing as well if you haven't built it around him. And it has to be a very specific team. It has to be a very possession-based team that carries him defensively, because he doesn't do any defensive work these days. So he doesn't fit into a Pep Guardiola or a Jurgen Klopp team. I think maybe Italy, if he had to go somewhere, it'd be interesting to see him at Inter Milan, Messi, Ronaldo, provided the career. That's a very interesting thing, just for the prospect of football fans to see that one more time. But I think that's an interesting point to raise, Arman, about adapting at this late stage in his career and building a squad around him. I think
the bigger concern is that building. I don't think Messi would have any problem. As a player, Messi would still be as good, but the problem would be that the team around him, players who have similar skills to him, they might suffer a bit. So that's the only concern. Yeah.
I think we've covered that point quite well, and thanks for the take again, Lakers all the way.
Video ain't working? Oh yeah, probably because the video turned out to be 1 hour now. So yeah, first part done, second part coming soon, third part coming soon. Until then, Brown Boys out.
Young winner, young sinner, piece of when I'm done, in a head spinner, cash spinner, brother, I'm the breadwinner, bread, but the wrong got you and be the soul son, the Johnny Glover, weapon lover, and them so they never bubble, whoa. My life, I'm keeping it all on the low.